Alright, I've been waiting for this all week. Just got the notification on my phone that there's a package out on the front porch for me. Let's go see what it is. Oh yeah. Insane audio. Here's my radio. Hey guys, this is Greg. I'm pretty excited today. It's been a couple of months that I've been waiting for this box right here. This is an Insane Audio JL3001. So I ordered it back in February, and then of course the coronavirus impacted their supply chain. The company's a small company out of California, out of June Lake. I've been very happy with their customer service. They've communicated with me very well on reasons for delays. They do make this in the United States, but of course there's nothing in the world that's electronic that does not have source parts that come from China or Japan or Korea or anywhere in the Pacific Rim. So they finally got back to me last week, and I was waiting for it to show up yesterday. It was supposed to arrive. It showed up this morning, so I opened the box up so I could get the t-shirt out, but we're going to open up the box and go through it together here. Nice Insane Audio sticker that'll be going on my Jeep pretty soon. Nice letter. They refer you to the support page on their webpage for install instructions, and then Quadratech has a really good install instruction video out there, but I'm going to make one too, just because. Alright, wire harness, looks like it has an adapter, goes into the radio, goes into the factory harness. For the factory camera setup, a whole bunch of wires that we'll go through here in a bit. USB cable to tie into the USB. And then I've taken it out of the bag, but there it is. 9-inch diagonal screen with built-in GPS, all kinds of goodies. So I have been chomping at the bit to get this and put it in my Jeep. So I've taken everything out of the bags, gone through everything. They give you a handy little circuit card telling you what all the different circuits are. So I'm going to go through that real quick. So we've got A, which is the USB, two USB plugs in. B, which is all of your audio outputs, your RCA connectors for pushing everything through amps. And then we come down, we got C is Insane TV, which I don't have that cable, so I'm going to go online, see if I can't figure that out. That goes in this place. Then the next one we've got over is D, which is for the external microphone. There's the cable, and then here's the cord that goes with it. So that is something we can put on there if you want to put a microphone somewhere else besides the pinhole on the front of it for the microphone. Then we get into E, which is your rock cam. So this has got the ability to add additional cameras beyond the factory backup camera, which is really cool. And then F, this is the USBs. I believe this one ties in to the factory USBs. So that's all of the cables. A few other things we've got here. We've got a GPS antenna that hooks up on the back. We've got a Wi-Fi antenna that hooks up on the back. You've got your primary wire harness, which we also have a speaker that ties into that. I'm not exactly sure what the speaker goes to. Another thing to get online and look at. Then we've got some additional camera cables that tie into the factory radio. So these are probably for the factory camera, these three cables, and then this one is probably for adding an additional, maybe a front camera or a rock cam somewhere else on your Jeep. A lot of cool stuff, and then there's another USB, and then this is cool, I didn't know this came with it. Comes with an OBD2 sensor that you can mount on your Jeep and leave on the Jeep, because this radio has the ability to give you all of those factory or settings off of your Jeep and be able to monitor all your systems. So next step is to go back in the house, because I don't have a strong enough Wi-Fi signal out here in my shop, and I'm going to go pull up the instructions and print them out. Everything looks pretty straightforward, that everything's going to match up. I don't see any cables that would fit in more than one location, so that's good. I'm sure I could probably just jump in my Jeep and start plugging things in, but I'm trying to be thorough for this video that I'm making, because Lord knows there's not very many JL install videos out there for other things. So And this is one of the few radios that you can put into the JL. Alpine makes one, but it's ridiculously expensive, almost double the price of this one. And then I think they've come out with a newer one, and then you can go to infotainment and you can buy remanufactured for the big 8.4 inch version, and they'll key it to your VIN and get it in there. But that's $500 more than this radio. So I think this is the good deal here. This radio looks to be really nice. It's got some waterproof design in it, and it's made in California, and they also give military discount. So call them on the phone and you'll get a better deal. And it's been a couple months since I paid for this, but I'm pretty sure I paid no sales tax and no shipping. So the price you pay is going to be the price out the door. So hopefully their supply is good now with what they've got in. They were able to get mine out finally, and it only took about 4 days. They sent it priority mail. I am excited to get this started. So we're going to pull those instructions. Alright guys, back at it. I finally got this printed out. I've gone through it. It's 25 pages long. I want to highlight a couple of things real quick. Get on to page 4. Now I'll tell you, I couldn't find this on Insane Audio's webpage, but Quadratech, since they now sell a product, they have the instructions on their page, and I was able to download it from there. I didn't get a clean printout because I was having some issues with my printer. But on the 4th page, this radio for the JL is so new that they put a note in here that's saying this document is the basics and that it is still currently in development. So we can expect a TO change coming down the road that'll probably give us even better detail. A big important one is to disconnect your battery, and since it's a JL and we have the second battery hidden underneath the fuse box in the engine compartment, make sure that you disconnect the appropriate wires off your wire harness when you pop that off of your terminal. I learned that the hard way when I was working on a different project and I hit my horn, and it scared the daylights out of me because I thought my battery was disconnected, and it wasn't, because the auxiliary battery was powering it. Another couple important things to cover: when you take your old radio out, you're going to reuse some of the factory clips on the back of the radio. So these 2 ports right here, there's no clips on them, so you're going to have to take those off of the housing for your valance that goes around your factory radio, because this one, it's built in, so there is no separate. You'll end up just screwing the whole unit in, and it'll pop in at the top. So that's an important one. Then we get back to the OEM backup camera. So there's several wires in here that actually have to get tied together on a couple of these wire harnesses. They're pigtailed, and they're going to go into this main harness, and then they tie in through the system, which is why you really do need these instructions, because this tells you specifically which wire to tie into which wire between the 2 harnesses. We get back towards the back. I'm going to have to sort this out when I get in the Jeep, but the OEM, I know for a fact from taking off my factory radio, there's 2 USB plugs on the back of the factory radio, and it looks like there's only one input that'll tie into the factory plugs in the Jeep. So I don't know, I'll have to figure out which one goes to the dash and which one goes to the center console and see if they both end up being powered. I don't see a second mini USB that would work for that. I know that's what it takes. There's 2 mini USBs on the factory 5.4 inch radio. So I'll have to sort that out. Doesn't really say much in some of the other things, but there's a speaker here that ties into the main harness, and this is tied up to the backup camera. So I'll be working with that, figuring a place to tuck that away. I never did find anything for the Insane TV plug on the back of the radio. This one right here, the second one on the bottom row. So I'll probably reach out to Insane Audio and find out if that's there for a future upgrade, if maybe I'm missing the cable, and I don't even have any idea how that works. But in the course of doing this, looking for that, there is a mini HDMI on the side, and that's what that extra cable was. I thought this was an extension USB, but it's a mini to normal HDMI cable, so you'll be able to plug in a DVD player to this thing, I guess. Since it has no moving parts on it, it's all solid state. So that's the main things that I have to update off of the install instructions. They do have the extra, you know, it ties into the factory cameras, but it does leave pigtailed wires so that you can add a non-factory reverse camera and then a non-factory forward camera, and then these are the wires that go to that. So I'll probably put this, since I have a factory camera, I'll probably just hook this pigtail up so I don't lose it and keep it behind there. And Insane Audio sells a camera that can plug into that, so I'll probably end up getting that and put it on the front so I have a front-facing camera to go along with my factory rear camera. So, alright, so that's about it for the instructions. Now, for real, I'm going to relocate the camera and we're going to go out to the Jeep and get started on putting this thing together. Alright, so we're going to get started on the inside. First thing I want to do is get some things out of the way. So I'm going to put my CB microphone out of the way and disconnect my radar detector and get that out of the way. Shouldn't need to do much else beyond that because we don't need to get into the bottom half. We just need to take this centerpiece out, which will allow us to get to the radio unit. So I'm going to start off with one of my tools. And I've had this off before, so mine kind of popped off pretty easily. Alright, so we got that disconnected. And I'm just going to not put my flashers on, but just for ease of things, I'm going to disconnect the bottom port, knock my light behind me. I'm just going to completely disconnect that unit. And I'll put this back up so we'll try and keep some light in here so we can see what's going on. Alright, we have two screws underneath here that take the radio bezel off. Get to listen to my next door neighbor weed eat and blow his patio off. Alright, so when we pull this off, it pops loose. And we're probably going to want to use one of the plastic tools to get the top. And there it goes. Pops right off. So these are the two clips that we're going to reuse on the other radio when we put that in. So now that we've got that out, now it's 4 screws that hold the radio in place. Alright, now the radio just comes straight out. I'm going to flip this upside down. Got disconnect right here for, that's your USB connector. That's your backup camera. This is our regular antenna. And then this connector is a clamp type connector. Alright, so I've got all the wiring put together on this radio and I'm ready to start putting it in. Quite a snake pit here. I've got a few things I'm going to have to sort out and figure out where I'm going to put them. This chirp speaker for the backup alarm, this little box, this bus bar that ties into it, this HDMI cable, and then the 2 additional USB ports. So, and then a GPS antenna that I need to hook up. So the GPS antenna is going to need to be somewhere in view of the skyline to get a good signal, otherwise it won't be very good. So my thoughts are that I'm going to put it somewhere up here on the dash, probably in the front here. And then my ham radio I've got going in this corner, and what I did on my factory radio is I just clipped the corner of that bezel. Well, the bezel's an easy replacement from the factory or from a junkyard even, you know, in a couple years if I need to take it out. And it was very, very tiny, so it's not a factor. But now I don't think I want to cut the corner of this radio bezel that's built into this to do the same thing. So I think I'm going to lift off my 67 design rail on the top that goes in the little cubby there, and then I'm going to probably pop a hole through the bottom here, and I'm probably going to run my GPS antenna cord there. I'll run my ham radio cord there, and then I'm going to feed my extra USB and my HDMI cables through the back and drop them into the glove box. Okay, so now we're back to, I've got these tightened in. I'm about to put this on. I didn't mention this earlier, but this is all completely held on by clips, except for one screw in the middle here that goes above the radio. So to take this off, it's very simple. You just start with your one of your plastic pry tools, pop it up at the back corner, and then bring it forward. Now it's got metal clips, and two of my clips popped off and were stuck back in, and two of the prongs have broken off. So I'll have to be careful with them, and maybe I'll pick up some of these on Amazon so that I've got them in store for in the future. But putting it back on, just going to get it lined up. And we got one clip I missed over here, so I'll have to pull that out from that side since I didn't pull it completely off and put it completely on. I got one that popped up above me. There's a clip that holds the top front piece down. It's just a piece that goes underneath another piece. So this speaker cover is also on with just 4 clips, so that pops right off. So that's an easy on and off. So I think I'm going to be set here with this. Once I get my 67 design, my ham radio will plug right back in where it was before, and my GPS antenna's got a adhesive tab on it, so I just mounted it there right in front of the defroster, and then I just tucked it underneath the edge. So, and then you can see it's right behind here, and then here's my GPS antenna. I'll coil up the excess when I hook it to the back of the radio. I'm almost ready to get this thing installed. I'm gonna go over and fix that. I have routed wires through the glove box now. It's a little bit of overkill if you ask me, but I've got 4 USBs, plus the factory ones still work, both of them, because I was thinking when I took this off, there's 2 connectors on the back of this, but it splits, and this is the singular connector that goes into the radio. So I have 6 USBs and a USB-C and an HDMI all going in, and then I noticed I wasn't going to hook up 2 of these, but I had already routed them, and then I noticed that this one in particular is labeled CarPlay. So I'm not certain if CarPlay is going to work with any other of the USBs. I was really hoping it was going to use the main dash one, but we'll see what happens. Of course, I do know that they're supposed to be coming out with a wireless CarPlay, which I'll be excited for that. That'll be nice. And then I won't have to do that, and I'll just have something to plug it in. So I've got it all set, and we are ready to pick up the unit. I've got the GPS antenna hooked up. I've got all of this junk hooked up. So now we need to mate the primary wire harness for this, which another set of hands right about now would be handy. So make sure I've got it in the right layout. Alright, that's connected. Alright, now I've got a couple of these other little loose. This is the USBs. So that one goes back here. I tried to have all these connected to the radio first and then just run it, but there was just too much wire and I had to do some routing, so I ended up doing those first. There's that one, and there's this one's the other USB unit. Alright, got all the radio, all the wiring hooked up. Alright, everything's there. So now I'm going to shut off the camera because I need to move this light, and I'm going to be right, my head's going to be right in the middle of the view. And I'm going to start working all these wires behind it and tuck it away, and then I'll be back. So, got it all in there. What a work that was, getting all those wires tucked behind there. Fortunately, it is very thin backside of this radio, and much thinner than the factory radio, so that allowed me to literally stuff the wires up in there. In fact, there's a couple that are like just hanging on the edge here that I had to push up as I put the screws in and get it in place. I did the top end in. I had to pull it back out because I missed a wire that had fallen out. And when I did one of those little clips that I told you, these plastic clips, they don't fit as tightly as they do on the Chrysler product. So one of them popped off and it fell down, and it's somewhere in the bottom, and I'll have to fish it out later. But I grabbed one because there's 6 of them on the bezel for the factory radio. So now I'm ready to hook up the air conditioning control, the power, and then this is the other switch, that other wire I missed. And this is my remote microphone. So for right now, I'm just running it out the side there, and I'm probably gonna run it around and bring it up and put it up on the top somewhere here. They recommend keeping it away from vents and keeping it away from the glass for the best audio connection. So I'll probably sit here for a few minutes and mull that around and see if I can't figure out how to get that before I start putting the last pieces on, as if I have to pop this back off and then fish that through, maybe behind this top piece again. But that's where I'm at. I'm really close to putting power on and making sure it works. All right, so I've got the radio in. My backup cameras aren't working, but I'll get that. I've got a call into tech support. I'm hoping to hear back from them today. But check this out. Go in and pulls all my engine parameters. It'll read my trouble codes. It came with an OBD sensor connection. I can even do some of this crazy stuff like I'm gonna do 0 to 60 in a Jeep, but anyway, or a quarter-mile time, but it's got it if I want it, and then it'll read my trouble codes and all that good stuff. Got a great looking equalizer. Also goes some of your other settings and your balance, all pretty cool. You saw the radio. Hooks up to my Apple CarPlay, and it does it via Bluetooth. So also use the mapping feature from Apple. And then they've got their own navigation system, which right there is my GPS antenna. So that ties into it. Since I have the base model and don't have any electronics along here, it won't tie into this, except for it'll operate my defroster. But the rest, it won't do the fan, but it'll read what my positions are. So if I end up getting the digital display, there's a Scotia air conditioning panel that would probably allow me to tie into it, but I don't know that I need that. I got YouTube. I don't think I have a good enough internet signal to get that, but I could watch movies. It's got a wire harness that'll hook up a TV or a DVD player source, so you could watch TV on this thing. Of course, they've got it set where it's off for driving. So some cool stuff. Anyway, I'm digging the radio. It's loud, it blasts, and it's 10 times better than my other radio. Hey guys, this is Greg. I'm back out in my Jeep. It's been about a week since I put the radio in. Had some issues with the backup camera. I had to get in touch with technical support. Hey guys, this is Greg. I'm back out in the shop working on the Jeep. It's been about a week since I put the radio in, my Insane Audio JL3001. I had some issues with my backup camera not working, and I had to contact technical support at Insane Audio. Took them a few days. I think this module for the backup camera is so new on this model that they had some problems. They were going to call me to go over it and help me work through it, but they ended up contacting me and saying they discovered a problem. So in the interim, I had taken the wiring harness out for the backup camera and the backup camera module. So I've got those. Here's the backup camera module. This ties into the factory camera lead. And then this is their wire harness. Well, the instructions that they give you with the radio have you connect the accessory to the ground. It goes through rock cam power to accessory, and then rock cam ground to ground. Well, there's two other wires. There's reverse trigger, which I kind of thought might need to have power, but it doesn't. There's a second wire, it's yellow wire, called B+. So that's what they've contacted me with and said I need to take this B+ wire and tie it in to the red power wire for accessory that goes into the rock cam power. So that's what I'm going to do here next. I'm going to have to cut this loose and resolder these wires together, and then I'll be ready to hook it back up to the radio in my Jeep, and we'll see how it works. I'll be back in a few once I get this thing hooked back together. I got the wires connected. I spliced the yellow and the red together, put some solder on it, put it in a solder sleeve, put some heat shrink around it, connected the yellow wires from the backup camera to the reverse CVBS output. Now there's two of them here because you've got reverse AHD output, and then there's another one over here that's the rock cam in. So the rock cam in is going to be for the second camera. My assumption would be that this reverse AHD would be if you were using the Insane Audio aftermarket backup camera, and that this reverse CVBS is for using the factory camera. And then of course we got the factory camera connector that we're going to hook up. So I hooked up to the bus box, and I've got to go put it in, and I've got two connections to make, one to the factory camera and one to the back of the radio. This will go pretty quick and pretty easy once I just pop off a couple things and get to it. I've taken this thing apart enough times now, I'm pretty good at getting the dash apart. Anyway, I'll get you a video of it here in a second when I get in the Jeep. Alright, so I've got the radio put back together. It's in the Jeep. The wire harness is connected up for the backup camera, and it's working as advertised. So here's a quick look at it for you. Turn off this light that's feeding it. There you go. There's a better view. And you can see it does the curve. So it's working good. I'm pretty happy with it. Give it a second and then back to the main screen. Alright. Alright guys, well as you can see, I got it in and I've got the backup camera working now. I'm pretty happy with it. The one thing I would say is that I'm an Apple guy, so I have iOS and Apple for all my stuff. iPad, iPhone, laptop, everything except for my PC at work. So I don't know Android at all. From the first day I put it in, when you put your headlights on, the Insane Audio logo at the bottom lit up in green, which was really cool. I was hoping that I might be able to go in there, change that to red, and now it's not working at all. So I think I messed with something in the settings, and since I don't know Android, I'll be reaching out trying to figure out how to set it, and probably reaching out to Insane Audio. The instructions are pretty good, other than my little wire issue that I had with the backup camera, but I don't have any operating instructions for some bare basic Insane Audio type settings for stuff like that backlighting. So I don't know why it's not working now. Hopefully I didn't disconnect a wire somewhere along the way, but the rest of the system's been working good. The stereo booms, it's really good. I'm real happy with it so far, and I've been driving it for about a week. Not very much because of the COVID-19 stuff. I haven't gotten out very often, but I've gotten it out a little bit. So maybe I'll follow up with some more on a review on this later, but so far I'm very happy. The screen is phenomenal, the features are phenomenal, and I just got to figure out how to operate everything. So thanks for watching the video. I hope this helps anybody else who's deciding to get this radio for a JLU or JL or a JT Gladiator. I think this is a good option compared to what else is out there right now. Thanks a lot and have a great day.